Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello, for those of you who just joined. We are going to get started here at 1 o'clock. Hang tight, give you a few minutes to kind of get settled in, get ready to go. Today, we're going to talk a lot about exploring resume builders. So, we're going to look at a few different resume builders out there in the world. But largely, we are going to look at stuff that the library has access to, which is awesome. So just hang out. If you guys have any questions ahead of time, go ahead and throw them in the comments or the chat. I can see them and I can try to either address them ahead of time or I can address them as we go. We'll get started here at 1 o'clock. So just hang tight or feel free to bump out and then come back at 1 o'clock. But that's when we'll get started. Trying to get my setup all set up here. But you having a good, what is today, Wednesday? It's a good Wednesday. Hot Wednesday. Can everybody hear me? Hello, hello. Everybody coming in. We're going to get started shortly here at 1 o'clock, so you got a couple minutes. Today we're going to talk a lot about exploring or about resume builders that are available from the library and also online. If you guys have any questions ahead of time, feel free to throw them in the comment section real quick, and I will try to either address them ahead of time or address them as I go. Thank you, Kathy Jo. We'll get started at 1 o'clock, so just hang tight. And we will get started here shortly. For those of you who are curious, today I'm going to be using Firefox instead of Chrome. So if you are a Chrome user, the tabs may look a little bit different. Just a heads up. But other than that, everything we do today you should be able to do on any regular browser. And yeah, so we'll get started here shortly. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Uh-oh. Sorry, just accidentally trying to open Explorer over here. Okay, well, it is 1 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So you guys just keep going. So we're going to do this program. It's called Back to Work, Exploring Resume Builders. So we're going to hopefully see if my display updates so you guys know what is going on. So today we're going to cover several different things. But specifically we're going to look at resume builders, and I do want to start out with today's topic. So obviously today's topic is going to be resumes. We are going to talk about a little bit about kind of what a resume is, but then really focus on some of the library sources for resume building and then some of the outside resources for resume building. So those are going to be things that you can find on the web. If you can see the top of my screen, you can probably see that I have several tabs open already. So you can kind of get maybe a little bit of an idea of where I'm going to head as we go through this. Looks like we might have a little bit of lag, so bear with me if things get going too fast. So what you're going to need when you are building your resumes, the biggest thing that you're going to need is your own personal information and then your experience and education information. So that can be anything, old jobs, high school jobs, babysitting, if you have volunteer experience, that can go on there. Your personal information is just going to be things like, your name, your address, your phone number, email address. If you don't have an email address, It is strongly encouraged that you create one. A lot of people do a lot of work online, especially right now. A lot of work and interviews and things are being conducted online. So go ahead and you may need to find some spots or pick an email creator that you would like to create an email if you don't have one already. Um, for many of these, you're going to need an internet connection. I went ahead and called those optional. Um, For most of what we're going to cover today, you are going to need an internet connection. I am going to talk about Microsoft Word a little bit, and I am using an online version of it. However, if you do have a desktop version or the software downloaded to a computer, you don't necessarily need internet to use those. But again, with so much business being conducted online right now, having access to an internet connection is probably a good option. And then finally, if you're going to be using the library's computers, um, and some of the library resources, you're going to need your access pass, which is your library card number. And then you're also going to need your PIN, which should be your 8-digit birthday. So we're just going to go ahead and hop right in. I'm going to talk first about things that you can get from the library or builders that the library offers. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm already navigated to the library's homepage, so you can kind of see where I'm at. And then I'm going to come kind of right in the middle of the top bar and just click on Research and Learning. Sorry if the computer takes a minute to catch up. And then just because I think it's a little bit easier, I'm going to go to Browse Subjects. So if I scroll down just a little bit, you can do Browse Subjects above the search bar. And then the subjects are all in alphabetical order. So it's pretty easy. There's one, it's in the second row. We've got Careers and Education. You'll see a picture of a bunch of people raising their hands. And I'm just going to click on View Resources once I get in there. And that's going to take you to a lot of different cards of options that we have for kind of career resources. These are not all going to be resume builders. Some of them are going to be just options to go either learn more about work, maybe some skill building, articles, and that sort of stuff so that you can read. Some of it is a little off, but there are a lot of useful resources in here. And the one that I really want to point out first and foremost is actually not necessarily a resume builder, but it is incredibly helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, open it up in a new tab. It's called Ferguson's Career Guidance Center. So you can get a little bit of information. I'm going to go ahead and just go there, close this up, give it a second to load up, and log in. So that's where you're going to need your library card number to log in. Don't save. Give it a second here. Okay, so once we get into Ferguson's, Um, this is one of the resources that provides tons of articles to read and a lot of information. They have videos, they have blogs, they have articles, things to kind of help you get going and better understand that job search. But I did want to come up here under the main logo. There's an option that says Launch Your Career. And then if you click on that, it'll give you a drop down menu from which you can choose resumes, cover letters, and interviewing. So once that loads up, that'll bring up a bunch of the things that you need, mostly articles for how to kind of go about doing, like, creating the resumes, creating cover letters, some interview skills. But if you click on resume or look at resumes, right next to it is a special feature on view and download sample resumes. I'm going to click on that. And once we get in there, you can see that there are several different types. You have chronological, functional, combination, curriculum vitae or vitae, I don't know. That's usually, so curriculum vitae or vitae, CV, is usually used by educators. Primarily, you'll see that in usually academic, so college level, but you will see it from other education branches. They tend to be a lot longer. They can be anywhere between 3 and 5 pages or even longer, depending on how much experience that person has. A normal resume length is going to be anywhere between a page and several pages. It just depends on what you're applying for. And that's why it's wise to kind of look at things like this so you get an idea of maybe what types of resumes or how long a resume might need to be for a field that you're applying in. We're going to go ahead and go and click on combination resumes just because those tend to be fairly popular. And when you get in here, it's really hard to see. It's tiny little font, but they have specialty resume or not templates, but examples that you can look at. So you can see that there's, okay, here's an entry level accounting. If you scroll down a little bit more, there's a consulting, customer service, database administration. So for the techies out there, we'll just click on the accounting. So an entry level accounting position, just so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. So this is what this particular resume is going to look like. So you get an idea, you can kind of model your own off of that when you get into a resume builder, or you can kind of totally cheat, which is why I wanted to bring this up. At the very top here, there's an option to download as a PDF or download as a Word doc. If you download it as a Word doc, it is editable. So you could actually download this example and then go through and then just basically cut and paste, take out the information that is already there and put in your own. And so you can kind of keep the formatting and the style as you want, but then you can put your own information in there instead. So wanted to show you this one for that reason. So I'm back. I'm going to just close out of that one, and I'm back at our research, at our kind of career guidance spot. Scroll down here so you can see. I'm going to go to Learning Express Library. And so this one is one that people often forget about as an option for careers, but it actually has a very robust career section. So I'm going to give it a second here to load up. So if I scroll down, there's a job and career accelerator right at the very top. And then, so they actually have a build resumes right here. So if you click on that, build resumes and job letters. So job letters is just going to be like your cover letter that you often send in with a resume if you're sending that in. So you can do build resumes and job letters, build your resume. So you have to sign in or register to begin. I'll go ahead and sign in so you can kind of see what it looks like. Use our test account here. Don't save. And then from here, you can launch the career tool. Give it a second to load. Okay, several seconds to load. Come on. Okay. There we go. So the resume builder has loaded in for me. You have a choice. You can upload your resume that you've already sort of created or started working on and edit it through this, or you can create a brand new one. I'm going to do just create a new one, and it's going to start having me enter information. So it'll let me pick a job, like do my name, describe the resume. So a big thing that a lot of people do with resumes is they'll create kind of a base resume and then adjust it for the positions they start applying for. So you could describe this as like base resume, and then, or even add in things like maybe if this is a specific kind of job, I want to add this area, or I want to move this to the top or this to the bottom, or I want to add this job and not this job. You can do those sorts of things and adjust it so that it's more suited to the jobs and the positions you're applying for. So you can select your job categories. There's not as many, so you might have to kind of get creative. So library does not have its own little category. I just went with education and training when I was doing that one. You can do your job experience, so you can pick kind of where you have education and or where you are in the job search. Are you a recent grad? Are you looking for entry level, mid level, academic jobs, that sort of thing? And then you can pick your current work situation. It's actually going to give you from that point some options of resumes to choose from. But from this is largely what the resume builder looks like throughout. It just gives you options of things to fill in, and all you have to do is type. And then at the end, it will generate a resume for you that you can either download as a PDF, you can do rich text, or you can download as a Word file. So you can save it in a variety of different ways. So that is the resume builder here in Learning Express. All right, I'm going to scroll back to the top of our career builders spot, because this is another one I wanted to point out. So tutor.com, a lot of people think is just going to be for our students, but really they also have a good career center. So I'm just going to click on more info, and then I'm going to go to career center at tutor.com and get it in there. So yeah, immediately it does say go to tutor now, but if you scroll down almost all the way to the bottom, there's a get help finding a job function. So you have options. You can connect with a career coach. So that's going to be one of our live tutors that can kind of walk you through tips and tricks of finding jobs, changing careers, selecting a career, those sorts of things. You can search for online job resources, so that's going to find you articles and blogs and videos that could be useful in your job search. And then there's actually a drop off a resume for review. So the tutors or the live tutors that they usually use for your students and that sort of thing can also do resume reviews. So once you have a resume built, you can drop it off and have somebody review it and let you know, okay, you misspelled the in this spot, or you need to add a period or take off your period on all your bullet points, which is the thing that I frequently forget to do. So it's a nice thing to do, and it's a cool resource to kind of check out and consider to use. I'm going to close that one up, and then I'm going to do something a little different. So I'm back on the MCPL page, and I'm going to go back to research and learning. And then this time, instead of going to the browse subjects, I'm going to go to the A to Z list. And I'm going to pull one out of left field. I'm going to go to L. And then I'm going to go to Law Depot, which I did not think would be a spot to go find a resume builder, but it turns out there's actually a very good one here. So I'm going to go into Law Depot. I may have to log in. So Law Depot is one of our RB Digital resources. I'm going to click on that. It's going to have me log in. Just a second. All right, I am logged in. Should be taking me in there in a second. All righty. So this is Law Depot. So Law Depot is our resource that is very good for all things law. So you can do rental leases, you can look at leases, you can look at create wills, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. But if I come up here and just do search for a resume, it will actually come up with a resume builder. And then you can come down here. They have 4 different templates that you can choose from. You can do classic, modern, decorative, or creative. I like I can't remember, I was looking at these earlier. Yeah, I like the creative one because I liked that green. So you just do that, save and continue. And then, like many of the other things, it just starts to ask you questions. It'll fill you out. So you can do employed, not currently employed, or a student. I'm going to go with employed. And then you start adding your information. So we'll do Matilda. And I don't know, 111. Making up stuff. All right. And then you start to add your job. You start to add work experience. And it just walks you through the whole process of kind of building a resume that way. So you can add as many jobs as you like. So you can add another job, add another position until you get to a certain point. And you can come up here if you're like, I don't have any work I want to add, you can just jump straight to education. Or if you don't have education you want to add, you can jump straight to qualifications. You can do as many or as few of these as you want. Personalization is kind of fun. So you can add a website sample if you have that. Or you could add maybe a LinkedIn link if you want to. And then you come over here to the print and download. So the bummer for Law Depot, I think, it's still incredibly useful, is that you don't really have the option to do as much with it once you are finished. So you can print it out as is, so you can see we didn't really add anything, so ours is very, very, very plain. But you can download it. So you can download it as HTML, which would be your website, or you can download it as PDF. Those are your only options. So you can't pull it into a web doc as easily. So once you get it into a PDF, you could potentially attempt to save it as a Word document or a Google Doc, but it is probably going to change a little bit of the formatting as you go. So just keep that in mind. But this is an awesome resource for creating resumes and building them. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there is a resume tips option, so they can walk you through some of the tips and tricks of creating a resume. So, do you guys have any questions about the library's resources before I hop into the outside world? Probably, maybe, nothing. Well, we won't go too far into the outside world just yet. Hopefully this loads up okay. Okay. So I have navigated to Word, and I kind of said early on I am using an online version of Word. This will look mostly similar to what you're going to see in the desktop version of Word. Mine's a little bit different. I'm using Office 365 through my browser just to make life a little bit easier so you guys can see everything well. You may already be aware, but Word has several templates that you can choose from. You can see resume is right here, front and center. That is just one resume template though, and that's why I kind of wanted to walk you through this. So right here, I have an option to do more templates. And so you can scroll through. There's all kinds. So there's a simple resume. Scroll a bit further. Formal business letter. There's a functional resume. And we can just kind of go down, but when you go a little all the way to the bottom of the page, there's an option to explore all templates. Are some of these better for online applications than others? It is really about playing with the different ones to find one that suits you. So there's not necessarily one that is better than the others for online applications, but it is just kind of your preference. Usually, if you're doing online applications, there are a few that will have you kind of download your resume or give you a box to basically cut and paste or copy and paste your resume. So having a backup kind of simplified version of your resume may not be the worst plan. Um, I have done that when I was job seeking before. I had several different versions, including one that had very little formatting, so that when I did put it into those online applications that would kind of hunt your resume for information and fill out the application for you, I didn't get any of those weird bullet points or weird indentation and stuff. So having multiple versions of your resume might is probably a good thing. So having a resume builder that will allow you to edit or kind of pull information out a little bit easier or throw it into a Word doc might be preferable, but really it's just about your preference. Some of the online ones I'm going to show you will create really cool looking resumes, but there's not as much editing capability there. Word, you can edit most of them. So that's why I wanted to show you this one first. So I'm going to come over here. It says browse by category. And if we scroll down a bit, there's a resumes and cover letters category, just all of its own. And then you can look through here at all the different kinds of resume and cover letter kind of templates that they have in here, and they've got tons. And then if there's still not as many in here that you like, you can also download others, which is really, really nice. So you can bring in even more. So Brittany, so I hate it when I had to upload and copy and paste. Yes, I hate that too. It drives me crazy. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the resume functional design here. You can see I have to download this one. So this one is not one that is immediately built in, but it is a free download option. So I just do that. I can open it with Word. I'm not going to right now because I'm afraid it's going to kick me off the browser. But you can kind of see that's what it looks like over here on the right hand side. So you can see your name is in brackets. Everything is just kind of bracketed out so you can see where you need to literally cut and paste. So you can just highlight that area and then start typing your information in to replace the kind of filler text that is already there. And it's already formatted, so you don't have to worry about playing with the formatting unless you want to add anything else. So this is still completely, you can edit everything within here and change it up if you don't quite like how it looks, but it is a good way to start. I like using it. So that is Word. Close out of this one. I'm going to come over here. I've got Drive open. It may take a second to load up. So this is Google Drive. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. So Google Drive is Google's kind of cloud storage service, but it gives you access to Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. And Google Docs, like Microsoft Word, has several templates. So I just clicked on Google Docs, that little arrow to bring up a choice between blank document and template. I'm going to go to template. I'm going to go ahead and close Drive. So here they are. They have not as many templates, but you can kind of come right here. There's a resumes right on top, and they've got a few. So they've got Swiss, Serif, Coral, Spearmint, Modern Writer. I am partial to green, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the Spearmint one. And a lot like the Word one, it's just got filler text for you to kind of cut and paste. So if I highlight your name or industrial designer, I can come up come in here and start to edit. So I can highlight your name and put Matilda Parker Lewis. That's our test person. I can change out, so industrial designer, I can do tech lady, and I can just kind of edit that from there. This one is full of lorem ipsum, which is just basically random Latin filler. So don't keep the text that's in here. But once you edit it, the nice thing with Google Drive is that it will just automatically start saving as you go. So you have a lot of options if your stuff crashes. I've had a couple of crashes today already, so having this autosave has been kind of nice. And you can save multiple versions of it, so that's a nice option as well. So that is Drive. And then I'm going to kind of start going a little left field on you. So this is LinkedIn. If you guys hopefully have heard of LinkedIn if you were working on job searching, it's a very popular site for literally kind of getting out there and networking with people. So I've got our test account open. LinkedIn is sort of a business networking social media service. At least that's what I'm going to call it. But I've gone to Matilda's profile here so you can see it. And I'm going to click on more. So right now you can see add a profile section and then there's more. If I click on more, there's an option. I can share the profile, I can save it to a PDF, or I can build a resume. So you can literally use the information that you have saved in LinkedIn to build a resume. So it'll just ask me if I want to use like build a new one, which I did, and then I just said yes, and then it brought me to this, and it kind of created a resume. We don't have a lot of information put in here for Matilda, so it's not going to have a very robust resume. But you can see it gives you skills, you have honors and awards, licenses, certificates, education we're putting in there, and then any experience that we happen to have. Gives you the LinkedIn address as part of your kind of header, which is not a bad thing to have. But it's a real quick and easy way to create a resume, especially if you already have a very filled out version of your LinkedIn profile. You can edit your resume name if you would like to. And then once it's done, you can download it as a PDF, you can make a copy, or you can delete it. We can also preview it. So if you want to see what it's going to look like, pretty plain, but that's because we haven't really added a lot of information, but it's really nice. And it adds a little, like if you have a logo, so if you see that we have our MCPL logo in there as part of our LinkedIn presence, it'll add logos and things for any businesses to add a little bit of color and interest. All right, I'm going to do a quick Google search. So I'm going to go to just Google for the sake of going to Google. Builder, Indeed.com. So I'm having to Google search this. I have been all over Indeed.com's website and cannot find the resume builder easily. However, if I do a resume builder Indeed.com Google search, it comes up. So for whatever reason, it is hiding when I go and hunt for it myself. But I'm just going to click on Indeed Resume Builder. So Indeed.com, if you are not aware, is a job search website. You can do all kinds of different things. You can apply for jobs. Anybody who is listing jobs can list jobs there. It's really nice. You can save your resume and just have really super quick application times. But they also have a resume builder. So you can just build my resume, and then it's going to ask you for an account. I have not created an account with Indeed yet, so I'm not going to be able to do that, but it works the same way as just about everybody else. It's just kind of a point and click option. It'll have you kind of go through the different steps for creating your resume real quickly. You just add in information. And my little tip or trick, I guess, for you wonderful folks who are joining me today, that saved me a lot of time when I was doing job searching, is to save that information that you use frequently. So if you have long job descriptions or like lists of the things that you did for specific employee or for specific positions that you've worked in the past, you can put those in a document somewhere. I have saved them to a post-it note on my the little sticky notes on your screen. I have saved them to Word docs or Google Docs. And you can just copy and paste that stuff into these resume builders to save yourself some effort and some time. So quick little cheaty tip there for you guys to save yourself some effort, especially if you plan on building several different resumes, just in case. Give you a chance to kind of have a little bit less less time trying to think through what to put on those resume builders. Also helpful for applications that are going to ask you to put everything that is on your resume into an application, which is fairly typical. So I'm going to go back to Google because I just wanted to show you that this is an option. You can just do a quick search. I use Google, it's my preferred search, but there are several out there. So I am just searching Google today, but you can easily search DuckDuckGo, or I don't even know what else is out there. Bing, a few other ones that are available. I need to talk to Brittany about her search engine options. I forget which other ones are there. So I just did a search for resume builders, um, and it comes up with several different ones. So not all of these are going to be free, or they may have a free version that is a lot more plain, or they might have like a career counseling like resume building service that is paid, and they'll walk you through the whole process. They'll create like this insanely fancy resume. But there are options out there. You can see Indeed's popped up again. Resume Now is there, just a free resume builder, so you can build things quickly, free to use online resume builder. If I wanted to search for resume templates, I can do that as well. And a lot of times when you're searching resume templates, it'll open, like, just give you a document so that you can download either into Word or into Google Drive that you can then kind of do what we were doing earlier, where you just replace the filler text and the filler information with your own information. So I wanted to show you, just don't be afraid to go ahead and do a quick, simple online search. You can find all kinds of things. With this one, I mean, it's kind of clicking around to see which ones you like, making sure it's paid versus or not paid if that's what you're after, or free. Um, but you are probably going to be okay finding stuff. It's not quite as dire as trying to find useful resources or factual resources. These are just kind of helpful resources. The last one I want to show you is my favorite surprise, because I've worked with Canva for a long time doing different things. So this is canva.com. This is a place to kind of design and create. I'm just going to go with paper products. They do everything. You can do social media posts and banners. You can create documents, invitations, anything that you think could be easily printed online or on paper, pretty much is an option in here. But I'm going to create a design. There's an option for documents. And if I scroll over, there is actually one for resumes. So if I click on resume, it's going to bring up just a blank document that's going to be like a regular page size. So what is that, 8.5 by 11 size, just blank canvas, which is really hard to see on my very bright background. But over on the left hand side, I have all kinds of options for resume styles. So if I hover over them, you can see in the bottom corner, I'm over here under simple resume, the JC one. In the bottom right corner, it says free. So they have lots of templates. So some of them are free, some of them aren't. You can usually tell. So if I come up here under the modern resumes, I'm under Olivia Wilson. You'll notice that that free option is no longer there. That means that this one has paid pieces to it. So what is unique about Canva is that it is free to use. You can create all kinds of different things with free to use images and icons and all sorts of stuff, but not all of it is free. You can do kind of a pay to play situation where there might be some more elaborate images or icons that you want to use that are going to ask you to pay. It's like $1 or $2, depending. So it's not terribly expensive if you want those really fancy things, but you can do tons with the free options that are in there. Um, I have created all kinds of stuff from presentations to invitations, social media banners, and never paid a penny. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on this JC one. It's very white, but you can kind of do what you will with it. So you can see if I can zoom in a bit so it's a little bit easier to read. There we go. So this is for Jamie Chastain, software developer. It's a very simple, it's a one-page resume, which is common for tech jobs and developer jobs. One page or maybe 2 pages, just kind of highlighting skills and any projects and things, maybe some education if it's needed. Um, but you can see I can come in here. If I click on that, it's just text, so I can change the text out to whatever I want it to be. The nice thing with Canva, if you are partial to color, if I wanted to have my name, that name initials be purple, or I guess whatever color you would call that, you can change that however you wish. If I wanted to maybe add in a little bit more flair, I can come over to Elements, give it a second to load, and you'll see that there's a bunch of elements and images and shapes that I can add. If I scroll down, there's lines, so maybe I want to add this line. So you can see I have a purple line down here that I can just move around. And it's a little bit like working with Microsoft Publisher. I find it a little bit easier. However, it doesn't have the grids or the grid lines, so it kind of gets a little complicated. But I can just add that line in, and it is super easy. And you have a lot of different options. So I just wanted to show you all of these. I hope you guys enjoyed, because that's all I've got for the day. So I have created, kind of pointed out as many resume builders as I could find easily accessible, um, as well as a few things for tips and tricks. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming to hang out. Does anybody have any questions before I wrap up? I know it's been a long, hot Wednesday, and resume builders are not exactly the most exciting topic in the world. So if you guys don't have any questions, we'll be back again next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. You can join us for a quick lesson in tech every Wednesday, actually, at 1 o'clock. And I guess we will see you soon. So have a good week, everybody. Stay as cool as you possibly can. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.